Welcome along, my name is Zuri. Today I want to take you through a short practice that is going to focus mostly on your hip mobility, or for some people the lack of mobility in your hip area. The hip joint is quite an interesting joint, very similar to the shoulder joint. We have a lot of range of movement, and most of that range of movement we only access on a daily basis when we're walking. So when the legs are moving in a forward and back direction, that's really all the movement into the hip joint. And so when some people come into a seated position like this, they find this quite difficult because they're not used to that external rotation of the leg within the hip joint. So I really want to focus on all the different ranges of movement that we have available at our hip joint. I'm really going to take you through a practice here today that's going to focus on a lot of Pilates exercises. So we're going to do this from either a seated position or doing it from the support laying on your back. And there may be times when we come up to a seated position, and for some of you, you may need to use a cushion or a couple of cushions to elevate, and that's just to support the hip and the pelvis area. What sometimes can be perceived as immobility in the hips can be sometimes connected to weakness in the glutes or just overall weakness in the lower abdominal walls. It's that band that sits right across down here quite low through the lower abdominals and into your lower back. So it might not necessarily be that your hips are tight. It could well be that there is lack of range of movement through the back, through the pelvis. So we'll work into those areas as well. Come to a seated position. Feet flat, knees bent. Very gently just roll your body slowly, gently, calmly, quietly back to the mat. Once you get there, I really want to leave the head on the mat. We're really going to focus on this area of the body, this strip that runs right across through your pelvis, through your lower back, through your lower abdominal wall and into your hips. So leaving your head, neck and shoulders on the mat, head is nice and relaxed. Just move your head from side to side. Just make sure that your neck feels relaxed, lower jaw is relaxed, and shoulders relaxed, and arms resting on the mat beside you. My knees are bent, so this maintains neutral spine position. The feet are flat onto the mat. All I want you to do is a gentle marching pattern, super slow, right leg only. Lift that right leg up to tabletop position. That means knees stacked in alignment with the hip, followed by the left. And then lower that down, right to left, right, left. Repeat, left to right, left, right, left, right, down. Repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Change sides. Left, right, down. So you've got to think about it. Right leg leads, right leg lowers, left leg leads, left leg lowers. Do one more round. Right, left, lower. Repeat. Left, right, lower. Bring both the legs up to this classic tabletop position. We bring one leg in, so if I bring my right leg in, then I tap the left leg away. Just bring it to a point that feels comfortable. You may get to a point where the leg starts to hit the hip joint and it might not move any further. Don't force it. And then switch change. So just bring one leg in and one leg away. The knees are bent to 90. We're just really starting to warm up the area connected to the top of your thighs, connected to those hip joints. 5 to go. Just breathe in as you would naturally. Leave your head, neck and shoulders on the mat. 2 more. 1 more. Hold the legs in tabletop position and lower the feet back down towards the ground. Again, come back to that neutral spine position. Feet are flat, knees in a bent position. Slide your right heel along the ground until that leg is straight. And then drag it back towards you. And then change. Left leg slides away and then drags back towards you. So you're extending one leg. Stretch it out. Foot is in flexion, heel on the ground. Drag it back towards you. Change sides. Stretch, extend, lengthen away. Foot in flexion and return. Couple more. Reach away. This leg is long and straight. Foot in flexion, keeping the heel on the ground. Drag it back towards you. Extension. Press away. Foot in flexion. Return to center. You may notice subtle changes. When you stretch one leg away, subtle change into lower back. We'll do one more on the other side. Stretch and extend, one leg away, foot is in flexion, and return back to center. Hold this position here. Extend your right leg only on a high 45. High 45 means that when you straighten your right leg out, the knees should line up so they're roughly at the same height. Lift the right leg straight up, toes are pointed, and bring it inside, so across the middle of your body, and move it back down to where you started. Try that again, but go the other way. Lift it up and go for an external rotation and come back to where you started. So this time I'm lifting it up and going inside without moving the left leg. So you're only allowed to move your right leg. Lift it up, external rotation. Lift it up and breathe out. Lift it up and breathe out. One more to each side. Breath out as you go down. Lift the leg up on the inhale. Exhale as you lower it down. Coming back to that point where we started. Bend the knee. We'll try it on the other side. Left leg, straighten it out, point the toes. Do a slight external rotation on that leg, just subtly. Lift the leg straight out, come across the midline, so coming across and down and hold. Lift it up and externally rotate it. Try, as you're moving this left leg, to keep your right leg still. That's quite important. So I'm maintaining stillness all the way down through my right side as I'm moving this left leg. So breathe in, lift it up. Rotate in, lift the leg up, external rotation. We'll do just one more. Lift the leg up. So you're literally rotating the leg around within your hip joint. Last one here. Just go to a point that feels comfortable, feel the stretch down through the inner thigh, bring that leg in, and then lower the foot to the floor. This time straighten your left leg, and then your right leg out. So the feet are in flexion. When we straighten the legs out like this on the floor, this will subtly change the feel into your lower back, just subtly. Okay, that's just because we've straightened the legs out, we've changed the angle of the pelvis. Hover the right leg off the ground, and with the toes pointed, lift that leg straight up, flex, lower down. Breathing in. Two more. One more. And lower that leg down. Little pause. Lower the foot to the ground. Try it on the other side. Hover your left leg. Point the toes. Lift that leg straight up. Flex the foot lower down to hover. Point toes, lift up. Flex foot lower down. Breathing in. Breathing out. One more breath in. Long breath out. And then lower the foot. Walk your feet back towards your body. Bring the knees, lift the legs one at a time, back to tabletop position. This time bring the legs in nice and close, so you're drawing your knees, your thighs towards the chest, towards the belly. Maybe just do a very gentle curl, lifting your tailbone off the mat, leaving your head, your neck and your shoulders resting, nice and relaxed. Take one more round of your breath here. Just coming in nice and close, we're coming to a little bit of compression in the front of your hip here, and just opening up into the back of the hips. So compression at the front, length at the back. Lower the feet back down, find that neutral spine position, so the feet are away. You don't want to be too close. Okay, so make sure if your legs come in too close, okay, this can change the feel in the pelvis. Take your legs away until you feel like your pelvis just settles. A lot of people, when they have the feet in this position, quite often bring the feet far too close. So don't need to be that close. Just a nice, comfortable, relaxed position. Bring the legs back to tabletop position. Now this time as you bring your right leg in, stretch your left leg out so it's on a high 45. And then switch and change and do that on the other side. So keep it flowing. The focus is on the legs. Drawing one in and reaching one away. Keep your legs fairly close. So as the legs are changing and transitioning, you should feel the ankles or the knees and the inner thighs almost brushing past each other. 5, 4, keep it flowing. 3, 2, final one. Bring the legs back to tabletop position and lower the feet down. Again, stretch and extend the legs out. This time point the toes, so we go for pointed foot. Maybe feel the stretch into the top of your thighs. Reach and extend the arms up and over. Big, beautiful stretch here, lengthening through the spine, and then very slowly roll over. So most of the exercises that we've done so far have been focusing in a forwards direction, moving away from the centre of the body. I want to work the legs so they're actually moving behind you. Place your hands underneath your forehead. You have the option of leaving your head resting on the back of your hands. For me, it's easier for you to hear me. You can have the head gently hovering. Now the feet are slightly apart, they're not too close, the toes are pointed. Lightly press the top of the feet down onto the mat. In a straight line, hover the right leg, and you want to get a sense of you're pulling that leg out of your hip joint. And your pelvis, this area here, stays still. And lower that leg down. Try the other side. Lift and hover, and lower. So without lifting your pelvis, so you should feel your pelvic bones right here in the front, resting on the mat. You're lifting the leg only. So that leg lifts and hovers in a straight line away from the ground and lowers down, pointing the toes. So just gently moving the leg behind my body. Stretch, reach it away. Stretch, reach it away. We'll do one more to each side. Right leg and lower it down, and then the left leg and lower. Again, squeeze the legs slightly close together, don't need to touch. Lift both and lower down. So this time lifting both legs, lowering both legs. Lifting the legs, lowering the legs. Trying to keep the legs straight, toes are pointed. We want to feel the kneecap and top of your thigh just peeling away from the mat. Lift and lower. Let's go for two more. Point the toes, lift the legs. Last one here. And slowly lower. From here, let's go back to the single leg. Hover the right leg, one leg only. Curl that heel toward your bottom. Reach it out, point the toes, and lower it down. Try it on the left. Point, hover the leg, flex the foot towards your heel, go out to extension, and lower. Point left, flex, point, lower. Point the toes, come into flexion, point, lower. We'll do one more to each side. Point, flex, point, last one here, point, flex, point, lower. Now we put those movements together, doing it with both legs. Hover both legs, flexion, go out to point, lower. Lift both legs, flex, heels towards your bottom, go out to extension, lower the legs down. Two more. Point, lift it, squeeze heels towards your bottom, go out to extension. Last one here, and I can feel this in my lower back as well. Lift both legs, curl heels towards the bottom, go out to extension and lower down. Roll over onto your side. Now you have two options here. You can let your head rest on that bottom arm and then bring both your legs towards the front edge of the mat, or if you wanted to, take that hand and place it under the back of your head. Top arm, lean into it slightly. When we lean into that top arm, it encourages us just to get that top hip stacked. There's a tendency for the hip to drop that behind you. So keeping it slightly forwards, stacking the hips, stacking the feet. Take your top leg and push out. So this is the most important thing. Here you can see the top leg is slightly shorter. But if I actively push that leg away, I can get the feet to align. I take that top leg and I lift it up about halfway. Point and flex that foot. Point and flex. Just holding that leg, that top leg up and away. Point the toes, flex the foot. Point the toes, two more. Point and flex. Last one here. And then lower that leg down. So I want to work into rotations. Lift the top leg, push out through the heel. You're only lifting it about halfway, doesn't need to come too high. And circle the leg forwards. So we draw a circle forwards, pause, try that again. Forwards, hold. Try that again. Circle forwards, hold. Circle forwards, one more. Circling forwards when we get to the top, pause and hold. Take it back. External rotation, there's one. So take the leg slightly behind you, down, around, come back to where you started. Push back down and around. One more. Push back down and around. When we come to the centre, hold it here. Bring that knee in towards your chest. Heel towards your bottom. Push the heel behind, keeping your heel close. Start to extend and straighten the leg behind you. Bring your knee towards your chest. Heel towards your bottom. push away. Go out to extension, drag that leg around, bring knee to chest, heel to bottom. One more in this direction. Reach it away, come around to the front, pause, reverse it. Stretch the leg out in front, straighten the leg behind, bend the knee, curl heel to bottom, reach out in front, lengthen, bend the knee, start to curl the heel to the tailbone. One more, push it away, bring it around, knee to chest, heel still close to the bottom, lower that foot towards the ground. Lift the bottom leg, so this bottom leg elevated away from the ground, foot is in flexion, and have the foot slightly turned down. So here my foot is square, now check the angle of the foot. So just slightly externally rotate that bottom leg. Heel is up, toes slightly turning down. Left, from an already lifted position, 4 more, 3, 2, last one. Circle the leg forwards. 1 circle forward, 2, 3, last one, hold, back it goes, 4 to go. Back it goes, circle it back, 2, 3, last one here. And then lower that leg down. Bend the knees, use your arms to support your body as you lift up. Transition change. As I come over onto the other side, step the body up. I'm starting on the back edge of the mat. Can take that bottom arm all the way down. I like to have the hand just sitting on the back of my head. Bring the legs slightly forwards of the mat. So the legs create this beautiful banana shape of the body. Hand in front of rib cage or towards the front of the belly. Lean into that front arm, and that act of leaning slightly into that front arm will stabilise or stack your top hip over your bottom hip. Take that top leg, now push out, so you're feeling like you're trying to pull the leg out of your hip joint. Hold it about halfway, point and flex, point and flex. So strengthening the leg in this position in your hip joint, working into the foot joint, push into the toes, flex into your heel. 2 more. 1 more. And then lower that leg down. Pause and hold. Lift it up about halfway. Keep lengthening. Push that leg away into the foot. Circle forwards. So we go 4, 3, 2, 1 more. Circle it forwards, down, around. When you come back to where you started, pause, reverse it. We go back. There's 1. Keep the leg long and straight. There's 2. Keep it in flow. 3. We'll do 1 more here. Push it back, sweep it around, come back to where you started. Bring the knee to the chest. Push the leg away. Keep your heel close towards your bottom. Start to straighten it out behind. Bring it in, knee to chest. Push it away. Keep that heel in nice and close. So the leg extends behind and comes to the front, knee to chest. 1 more in this direction. Keep pushing it behind, open, big sweeping motion here. Bring knee to chest. Keep the foot in flexion, heel close towards your bottom, reverse it. Push it out in front, sweep it behind, heel to your bottom, knee to your chest. Push it away, go out to extension, curl, knee. 1 more round, push it away. Curl it in, keep it strong, draw that knee into your chest, lower that leg towards the ground. Lift the bottom leg. Again, work that, look at the foot is square here, turn the foot down. So I've turned my toes to the floor, heel towards the ceiling, little pulses. Lifting from an already lifted position. 4, keep going, 3, 2, last one, hold, circle forward, 1. Circle forward, 2, 3, keep it in flow. We'll do 1 more. When you get to the top, pause, reverse the circle, going back and around. 1, 2, remember your breath, 3, we'll do 1 more here. Sweep it around and lower that leg down. So now that we've done the legs, roll over onto your back. I just want to add in a quick dynamic stretch here. So working into those hip joints, feet flat, knees bent, shoulders back, head nice and relaxed. Bring 1 knee to your chest, foot is in flexion. So bring the knee as close as it feels comfortable. Turn the foot inwards and rest the foot, the outer edge of your foot, your ankle on your opposite thigh. Let the knee just soften out. You don't need to force it. Just let it rotate. So we're getting a nice beautiful stretch through that inner thigh. You may feel that here into the glutes. Now the glutes is quite a big area of the body. So it can be felt up high into the back of the hip, which is right underneath me here, into the outside of that hip joint. So a couple of different places you may feel it. Reach the hands if you want to between the legs and draw supporting leg towards you. Now for some people this is just too much. You can quite often feel if it's too much because it can stress out the neck or the shoulders, or your back starts to lift away from the mat. So we still want to honour the length of the spine. Make sure your lower back is still supported on the mat. And let's try that to the other side. Both feet flat, knees grounded. And then bring the left leg in. Bring it into your chest. Give a little gentle hug in towards your body. And turn. Put the outer edge of the foot onto your opposite thigh. Externally rotate that knee. So for some of us, we're going to feel the stretch here. So we're giving that inner thigh stretch. And for others, we're just feeling it on the outside. Here is maybe where you need to be. So just stay here. This knee in line with the hip. This knee slightly wider than your hip. If you wanted to reach the hands between the legs, lift the supporting leg. You can have the hands on the back of your thigh, or if it's comfortable, reaching about halfway down the shin. Wherever you are, whatever it looks like, just bring your focus and your awareness back to your breath. So you're breathing in, and you're breathing out. One more inhale, and a long exhale. Hug knees to chest, bring both knees in towards the body. So this works back of the hip, so you feel into the back here. And bringing again slight compression into the front of your hip. One more breath in and a long breath out. And then very slowly curl the head. You can either roll up onto your seated position or roll over onto your side. So if you need to roll over onto your side, that's fine. Come up into a hands and knees position. From here, let's step the right leg through. You have the right leg in front, and we have your left leg behind. Make sure this front knee is in a straight line with your ankle, and then place your hands onto your hips and very subtly let the hips come forward. Now that knee has moved forward slightly, but I don't want it to go too far forward. So just sinking and lengthening through the hip flexor. You're feeling it into the front of the hip on that back leg. Keep your chest lifted, shoulders back, open up through the center of the body. Keep the spine nice and long. And then change. Let's try that again as we step the left leg. You can see this visual here. Keep this front knee in line with the ankle and just extend, bringing that hip slightly forwards and down towards the ground. Notice the back foot, toes down, getting the shin nice and close towards the ground. So here is where we want to feel the stretch. It's in the, we call the hip flexor the front of your hip. But for some of us, you will feel it into the back of the hip of that front leg. It'll be different for each person. And then come back. So here's a little challenge. Kneeling position. Extend the arms out so your arms are in line with your shoulders. Can you pick that right leg up and step it out in front of you? And then bring it back underneath and try the other side. Step it forwards and underneath. So we want to lift the right leg and land that foot in front and then step it back under and try the other side. Coming up and lowering it down. So we're trying to maintain upright position, nice and long through your spine. So there's a tendency to drag the knee around the side, but I want it to come underneath. Land that front foot and step it back. Land the left foot and step it back. Arms for counterbalance. Step forward right, back. Step forward left. Keep your chest open. And step it back. Keep it flowing. Right. Ooh, losing my balance a little bit there. And stepping it back. And left. As the legs tire, Get a little bit of fatigue. There's my core fatiguing as well here. Step right leg forward and back. Last one here left. Step forward, land, and come back. Bring the big toes together. Take the knees slightly wider than your hips and sit back into child's pose. A beautiful stretch across the back of your hips, right into this area here. And that band that runs across the lower back. Maybe feeling it into the outer hips, outside of your thighs. Take your arms wherever they feel comfortable, whether the arms are in front or the arms are behind you. Take what you need. The big toes together and the knees just slightly wider than your hips. So just again creating that nice opening across the back of your hips here. Take 2 more rounds of your breath. And 1 more round of your breath. It's a calming breath in and a long breath out. And then walk your hands back towards your body. Coming into this seated position, bring your right leg in front of you and have your left leg slightly offset behind you. So your front leg has been externally rotated. That means turned out away from the body. The back leg has been internally rotated, so it's turned in towards me. So this knee is away from me, this knee is towards me. So external rotation, internal rotation, we call that. Even just sitting here for some of us can be a real challenge. So if you feel like you're kind of sitting like this, you're on a real angle, what I want you to do is prop yourself up on a cushion and try and support your hips and your pelvis until you can feel your head and your shoulders come into natural alignment with your pelvis. So rather than sitting crooked and angle, we want to try and support the body so that we can get that neutral spine position. Reach the arms out nice and wide. So just take a couple of breaths. Again, you may feel it can feel quite tight in the hip flexors to the top of your hips with this one, and some of us will feel it more in the back as well. Turn your body so you face the right side of the room and lower down until you're on your forearms. So we're going to focus on the back leg. Hover that back leg, and it may feel like it's just gripping or tightening, or often gets me into my glutes with this one. The back foot is in flexion, that back knee, the back foot hovering off the ground. Can you bring that back leg around to the front, point the toes, leg is out in front, bend the knee, bring it behind you and have it in hover. Try that again, round to the front and bend the knee, return it back around behind you. 2 more. Leg comes from the back to the front, toes are pointed, flex the foot as you return it. 1 more. Rotate around, bend the knee, pause, lower that back leg, and lift your body up and come back to where you started. Lower your arms. So your challenge here, make a fist in front of you, is to change the angle of the legs without putting your arms down. Now this is quite a challenge. I'm going to lean slightly to my right, bring the left leg in front, lean to my left, and bring the right leg behind. So even sort of trying that exercise, and we can try that a little bit as well later on as well, is to try and transition and change the angle of the legs but without putting your hands down, so you're utilising the core a bit more. So now the left leg is externally rotated, so the knee is turned out so I can see my inner thigh. The back leg, my right leg, is internally rotated, so I can see the outside. So if I can see the outside of my leg, it must be internally rotated. If I can see the inside of the leg, it must be externally rotated. So reach the arms out nice and long. Again, adjust your cushion underneath your hips to stabilise the upper half of your body. Turn and rotate. Lower down until your forearms come onto the mat. So you're on your forearms, but try not to collapse through your chest or sink down between your shoulder blades. Hover that back leg so the knee and the shin and the foot off the ground. The foot is in flexion. Take a breath in. And bring that leg to the front, the toes are pointed. Bend the knee as you return, come down onto your forearms, legs slightly behind you. Breath in to the front and breathe out. 2 more, breathing in. Toes are pointed, leg is long and straight. Bend the knee, return behind you. 1 more, breath in. And bend the knee, return, come down onto your forearms. Now lower that back leg, take a breath in, come all the way up. Little pause, reach the arms out nice and long, see if you can find that balance here. Take 1 more inhale. And as you breathe out, lower the arms. So we're going to use the angle of these legs position and do a little rotation between the two. Have a little look. I'm going to turn to the full length of my mat so you can get more of a visual of this one. So I've taken the right leg in front and I've got my left leg here slightly behind me. Again, make a fist or clasp the hands together. Puff your chest open, widen your collarbones, keep your spine nice and long. You could have a little cushion again under your hips for this one. Keep the arms nice and open, chest is lifted. That's really important because I'm going to use my core. So notice how your right leg in front is turned out, your back leg, your left leg is turned in. Clasp the hands, chest is lifted, and we're going to change that to the other side. So I'm going to come up, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now I've rotated onto the other side. My left leg is turned in, my right leg behind. Breath in, so you're coming through the centre, and changing the angles of the legs. You try that again. Lift, both knees are bent in a little squat, and you rotate, and you change the angle of the foot. Notice the arms here, brace, chest open, come up, pivot, turn. You have to change the angles of your feet as well. So I'm coming through the soles of the feet onto the knife edge, the outer edges of my feet. Let's go for one more. Come up and around and over here. Last one. Switch, rotate, and change the angles so you're on the other side. And that would be a really good one to practice a few times. You may lose your balance at first, but that's okay. Come through center, bring knees in nice and close, and just give the legs a nice little hug towards the center, towards the middle of your body. I'm going to finish off with some just gentle stretches here. Take the legs nice and wide. So we've worked those inner thighs as well quite a bit here today. So opening the legs, try and take your legs as wide as you feel comfortable with, feet in slight flexion. If you need to soften the knees, again, if you need to sit on a cushion, that's absolutely fine. And then just gently walk the hands out in front of you. Rest down onto your forearms. Keep your spine nice and long. So we don't want to round the back. We don't want to dump into the spine. We want to keep the chest open. We should feel a stretch on the inner thighs, and we've got the legs wider than your hips. Opening up. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. And gradually you can start to move those arms a little further out as you lower, forehead coming closer and closer towards the ground if that feels comfortable. Take one more round of your breath here. And gradually walk the hands back towards your body. Come to a seated position. So with this one we're going to cross. I have got my left leg in front, my right leg behind. So just relax, just check in which one is in front, which one is behind. So which heel is closest towards your sit bones, which leg is in front. So just have a little feel again, sit on a cushion here if you need that. Shoulders back, nice and relaxed. Take one more round of your breath. And then change where you change it so the front one is now closer and the back one to the front. So I've changed the angle. One of these is going to feel quite unusual, and one of them is going to feel just like it does. So just check in which one for you is the most comfortable. So there's always going to be one that we gravitate to the most. So whenever we say come into a yoga practice or even Pilates, we say cross-legged. Generally we favour one leg being in front and one leg being behind. What I'm doing here is I'm just taking you out of your comfort zone a little bit and getting you comfortable sitting in something that probably doesn't feel comfortable. And just take one more round of your breath again. And then go back to the first one. So the feet, one foot in front, one foot behind, knees open. And what I want you to notice is, does this feel different to what it did at the beginning of the practice? Do you feel like you've got more range of movement through your hips, through your pelvis? Has anything shifted and changed? the answer may be nothing has changed, and for some of you, you will feel subtle changes. And we'll do one more, just bring that other leg in front, so just changing that over again, crossing, one leg in front, one leg behind. So the interesting thing for me here today, one of these is awkward, but actually it doesn't feel that awkward at the moment. So what I'm finding is I'm finding some comfort in both these variations. So all we've got left to do is just to bring this practice to an end. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that. Please let me know, give me some feedback, and I will see you again very soon. Thank you.